Ooh, yeah, yeah. This needs to be said all the while. We're keeping it real, yes. There's so much to be said.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on This Needs to Be Said. I have a special guest today. Every guest I have is special, but today, especially since we've been talking about affordable housing and everything that's attached to it, I have a special guest coming today. She's here with us right now, Sharron Champion, and she's going to talk with us about a special project that you can get involved in. I'm always looking for worthy causes, and her information was given to me, and I was told to act immediately on the information, and we've had a great off-air conversation that I think that you need to hear as well. We don't know what other people need until we're told, basically. You don't know what someone else is lacking if you have these things that are very basic. So Sharron Champion from the Period Project is here today. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for having me.
First of all, before I get into it, we know it's a worthy cause, and I know I've been talking about affordable housing, but I want you to share with us, what is the Period Project? I mean, it to me is self-explanatory, but that's only because of the research I've been doing. So
Correct.
I don't want to be like duh to anyone, because it's not really that simple. Because while I can figure out what the project is, I would not have thought of this for people that are in a situation where they can't do everything. When I think of basic needs, I thought of housing, I thought of food and clothing. But I didn't think of the essentials, the personals. So tell us about that. How did you get this project started? What is it? All of that.
Okay. Well, 4 years ago, we started, my sister-in-law, Stephanie, and I had read an article in Huffington Post about women in the UK and the struggles of their homeless women.
Okay.
And one of the reoccurring things in the article that the homeless women kept mentioning is trying to manage their periods while they're homeless.
Oh, wow.
Because these are the least donated products. And
course.
of course, I'd never thought about ever donating tampons or menstrual pads to a shelter or an organization that
Me
works
either.
with the homeless. And then they're also expensive. So after reading the article, we discussed why I wonder if the women in our community, and we're from Greenville, South Carolina, so we decided to contact some of the organizations that work with our homeless and those on the streets and in shelters.
Okay.
And unfortunately found out that our homeless were dealing with the same thing, that
Wow.
they didn't have access to these products or very little. And so after doing a couple more weeks of reading and research, and so we decided what any normal person would do, we decided let's host a period party. And at this period party, we just asked our friends, we will entice you with some food and drink.
Of course.
If you will come after work and just bring a few of these products, and then we will assemble them together in what we call period packs, and then we will donate them to an organization, or depending on how many we were able to make, a few organizations that work with those on the streets and in shelters. And that party was just meant to be that one party, just to help spread awareness, so the next time somebody donated food or clothes,
I see.
that they might think about donating a box of
Right.
tampons or pads. And at that party, one of the guests asked when was the next party,
Okay.
and she offered that if we came and led it, because I by that time had all this information that I had researched. So she was like, if you'll come lead the party, I'll host a party at my house and invite all my friends.
Wow.
And then we can do more packs and help more shelters,
Wow.
and continue to help the first organizations that we helped. So that's what we did. So the next month, she hosted a party, we helped more shelters, and then at her party it led to more people wanting to do parties, and here we are 4 years later.
Wow.
And so that's how it got started. About 5 months into the project, we received a call from our first local high school nurse that said, do you have to be homeless to receive your donations? I have students that are free lunch students, but they are not homeless,
Right.
but they are living in low wealth, and their parents are struggling to provide these products. And our schools are not budgeted to help students manage their periods. They only have it in the budget for an emergency at school.
Yeah.
So thankfully we were able the next day take some packs so that their students that needed these products were able to not only have them at school, but to be able to take home so that they can have them, and also for their mothers or any other body in the household that would need these products.
Fantastic.
So now, here we are. We help anybody, whether they're homeless, which was the first initial thing that got us started.
Yeah.
But we help anyone, whether they're homeless or living in a situation paycheck to paycheck, and they're struggling to provide these necessities for either themselves or those in the household.
I know that's not all, but I'm going to interrupt. My eyes probably said, I want to say something. What I like about what you all do is that a person doesn't have to qualify.
Right.
They just have to say, I have a need, and contact you, and it goes from there. And my question on the phone to you when we talked was, is there a chapter here in Charlotte? And you told me there wasn't.
No.
We're gonna have one. We are gonna have one. My friend Tamika was speaking with you in the green room, and she didn't even know that you were coming. Like the only person that knew was the director. So she didn't know that you were coming. So her excitement about it is authentic. Has nothing to do with, hey, this lady's coming, you know, be excited. It wasn't, you know. So as I overheard you all talking, I was like, this is definitely a good idea, because you don't think about these things. I mean, how many times do you pack to go somewhere yourself and you forget something?
Yourself.
And you may have it, but you forgot it. So how many times can I prepare something for someone else, and what will I forget on their behalf?
Right.
And when you brought this up, it reminded me of some years ago when I volunteered to help take toiletries. Mind you, none of these were in, none of the period project stuff was in there. Nothing for anybody's period was in there. So we're taking toiletries, and I had this great idea. We should take blankets, because, you know, it's cold.
It's cold.
Yeah, not a blanket from your bed, maybe an emergency blanket. And I learned that, and someone gave me a box of the emergency blankets, and they open up really big. But you don't know what you don't know, because you haven't had to do without whatever it is that a person needs.
Exactly.
And a lot of times you're not able to ask them in advance, hey, can you give me a list? It's not like when we go to the store and we can make a list before we go. This isn't that life. Something in their life has altered what they can do, whether it's a loss of a job, not making enough money, being displaced, anything. And you try to carry with you only what you need.
Exactly.
And if you're not having that problem at the moment, you won't think.
You don't think about it.
Right. So I want to say, I want to clap loud. I don't want to be too loud in my microphone, but I applaud your sister-in-law for this. And I'm excited to bring it here to Charlotte. And it's a very simple concept. It's helping. No one has to qualify for it, and it's simple.
Yes, it's the most simple thing I've ever done. Just like you were talking about, Tamika in the green room, she heard about it and immediately wanted to help. And that's been the experience that I have received in the 4 years. I have never asked anyone to host a party. We've had multiple parties, you know, monthly, whether it's an individual that hosts it in their living room on their floor, and it may be a party of 3, or it could be in a venue where a group gets together and they do a public venue and invite the public, and you might have a party of 300. I mean, it's just a beautiful thing.
Yes,
and
it is.
And back to the chapter, so even if someone wants to do this in their community, we don't have to be there as a chapter, and we don't pressure you into doing any more than you want to do. So if someone could, as you, just reach out to me, we send them an email with suggestions of some ideas for a party, and give them sort of the formula of what we suggest that you put in a period pack. And then if you don't know of an organization in your community or school that you want to donate to, then we help connect you with an organization in your community. So that way you're helping locally. So even if it's not in Greenville, South Carolina, we are now across the United States helping people have parties, even if it's not a chapter there.
I just think this is fantastic. And you've brought one of the packets with you.
Yes.
So will you show us what's in it?
Sure. This is one of our larger packets. So this is more of a gallon-size Ziploc bag.
Okay.
And so this would be what we would say what you would do for someone that lives on the streets.
Okay.
Because they don't have access to restrooms and showers as often as maybe even someone in a shelter or someone that lives in a housing authority that we may help that has housing. So this pack, we have tampons, pads, panty liners, and individually wrapped hygiene wipes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we have 14 tampons, 14 pads, 10 liners, and I think it's about 5 wipes. It's just a suggestion. Most of our period packs that are done at parties are typically quart size Ziploc bags, and then once again it would have these same products if it's going to someone that lives on the streets. If it's someone that lives in a shelter or they live in a home but they just are struggling, it would have everything but the wipes. Okay. Just because they have access to the restroom.
That makes sense.
Then if you're going to do for school, most schools throughout the United States, Charlotte included, do not allow nurses to hand out tampons.
Are you serious? What's the reason?
I've never been given a policy. I think it's one of those things that was just, it's been done that way for so long that nobody's pushed the difference. Now, you do have a few schools that do, but a majority do not. So we just suggest that if you're going to do schoolgirl packs for your students, acceptable. Find out first for your, but definitely panty liners and pads. And we just put a mixture of different size pads and liners. If I had to guess, the tampons is probably because of all the myths around toxic shock. And so they don't want the liability. That's probably the first and foremost reason.
Yeah, that would be a good guess for me too.
So that's the different type of packs, and so it's a lot of fun. We like to assemble these packs at the party because it makes the party interactive.
Okay, because I was just about to ask you next. Now we're at this party. What happens? Like, walk me through it.
Okay, so let's just say if you decided to have a party at your home, and you sent out an email and text messages to your guest, and you ask them to, if they're feeling real generous, to bring a box of each product with them. At the very least, bring at least 1 bag of pads or a box of tampons. Then when they come to the party, we also encourage our hosts to tell the guests if for some reason they can't come, there's a box on their front porch where they can still collect it until their party. A lot of the hosts, they put out a spread of whether it's just, coffee and cookies or wine and cheese, whatever your guests, whatever you would normally do for any other, like a Tupperware party. Right. People come in, they mingle, and then usually you just get the pads, like you just dump them out. Like you start opening the packages, your tampons in a pile, and depending on how many people you have, depending on how many assembly lines you have. And then you just do assembly line. Like I said, I've seen people send me pictures where it's just a few people sitting on a floor with a pile of products around them, and they're just assembling these bags.
I love it.
And one of the things, the reason why we started assembling the products, because in my little simple mind, when way back to that very first party, I was trying to decide, now how, whether it's us or another organization, when they're helping women that live on the streets, how do they just give them a box of tampons and then, and it might be a little awkward for the exchange of what do you prefer and what's your preference, and then especially if a woman just has a backpack, these bulky packages. So that's where the Ziploc bags, and, because it keeps them dry. So if they were out in the rain and they've got some type of backpack that's not lined. So that was part of that thinking. But and then they get a variety. So then they don't even have to tell anybody what their preference is. But what we found out through time is when people start handling these products and they're all around, whether it's a table or on the floor or at a venue, you start hearing conversations. And so it goes in 2 ways. So first, the conversations, you hear people recalling a time when they were at school or at work and didn't have these products. Maybe not because they couldn't afford it, just because they forgot it or they weren't expecting their period. So you start hearing people sharing stories. We've actually heard men trying to explain to another man how the products are used. So you've heard this conversation going on, but otherwise that would have never taken place. You also see the stigma of these products just sort of melt away, especially in the public venues when we have these big public parties. A lot of the brewing companies have gotten around and said, you've got these big brewing companies, people, come to drink beer and they're saying, what are all these tampons and pads doing in this venue? And then they see us break down to these assembly lines. Even the women that might come with a little bit of like, okay, this is a little hard, carrying these products around in public. But when you see men and women and children counting these products out like dollar bills to go into the packets, you can see after 15, 30 minutes of time, the stigma just goes, and they realize this is just a product that's a need. This is nothing to be embarrassed about. No, don't worry, I'm not asking you to go run around with your tampon out. But the stigma around these makes girls feel that it's dirty and it's something to be ashamed of. And so that's another beauty of packing these
living with dignity. Living with dignity. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So anyway, the putting together the period packs then ended up having a few more lessons in it than my little simple mind at the time.
I wouldn't have thought of this. I didn't think of this. And as soon as I got your information, I'm looking through and I was like, okay. I'm just like, okay, it makes sense to me.
Yes.
But when I talk with you, I can imagine that someone wouldn't want to go pick these up, especially a male. I don't want to have to go be seen picking these up, And for my sweetie, he gets to go pick mine up. Yeah, you're gonna break that. Hey, you have a woman at home. But as far as what you need, it's hard. It's hard enough to be in a place of need. And then how do you ask for this? I mean, yes, someone may ask for some change, or they may ask for, maybe some food, because that's general. Everybody eats, right? But how do you say, I don't have this? Somehow it feels like I was irresponsible. Somehow I did something wrong. So I can imagine the shame, but I didn't have it in my head before talking with you about this project. Now, I know I've already committed to you that I'm going to do this. And it sounds like Tamika is on board. Anyone else that wants to get in touch with you, can you just look into the camera, tell them your information so they can get in touch with you?
Most definitely. So the easiest way, you can email me at Sharron, and that's with 2 R's, SHARRON, at homeless, period, the word period spelled out, project.org. So Sharron at homeless, period, project.org. Also, if you've forgotten how to spell my name, you can also go at info at homelessperiodproject.org, and then you can also go to our website, thehomelessperiodproject.org.
This is a feel-good, do-good project, and a lot of times we do things to feel better, because I contributed, but I think out of all the things I've volunteered to do, to contribute so I can feel good, doing good, and adding value to someone's life, it's something like this with dignity. I love it. I love this idea. I hope that you all, even if it's not this project, that you find something that you're doing to help someone else. And email us and let us know email us to the show and let us know what surprising thing you found that a person in need needs and you didn't know that they didn't have. Because this isn't something I would think that a person doesn't have. I mean, I know for me, I've asked a girlfriend, hey, do you have a tampon? Do you have a pad or a panty liner? It's like, because I know you, but a person who doesn't know me, they don't know, she might be able to help me with this, and they would also have to admit what were they doing up until not having something, and I think that can bring with it shame, because you have everything in here, whatever choice they use, and cleaning. Anyway, I'm not trying to sell you all on this at all. I just want you to realize that this is part of the affordable housing problem. If a person doesn't have a place to live, they don't have a lot of things that we don't know to think about.
If someone is struggling to purchase food, then hygiene products are definitely, and if you receive assistance from the government, such as SNAP, which is food stamps, if you receive food stamps, you're not allowed to use those funds to purchase these products. So a lot of people don't realize that. So that's another thing. They think, well, why aren't they purchasing them with some of the resources? If you are on the WIC program, so you're a new mom, and you receive WIC, you qualify for that, these products don't come through WIC also. They are also taxed in most states. There's 35 states are still taxing these products as non-essential items.
Are you serious?
Yes, and North Carolina is one of them,
Boo.
along with South Carolina
Boo.
and Georgia
Oh,
and a
that's
few
terrible.
others. So we are also got some public policy initiatives that we're working on that we will be bringing to North Carolina and to South Carolina and the other and help our menstrual activists in other states that still tax these products in hopes of trying to remove the taxes from these, because these are essential items. And it's very frustrating, but I can even take it a step further than that.
Okay, because
So in South Carolina, we have a tax-free weekend right before people go back to school. And not only do that list, and I've read the list, is it just school supplies that are tax-free? They also have quite a number of other things that are tax-free that weekend.
Is this one of them?
No, but you can buy a wedding gown tax-free. And I think it's this coming weekend.
I'm going to get a phone for the show, because every time somebody says something to me, like, do you remember the old phones?
Yeah.
With like, I would hang up. I'm done talking about it. Everything we do is political. Everything we do is political, whether we believe it or not. Taxes, okay, but then this is not a non-essential, not okay. Just like the kids need paper and hand sanitizer, when they get about 3rd or 4th grade.
Yeah, the average age is 10
Yeah.
for people to start menstruating now.
Yeah.
So your elementary schools are being bombarded with, kids that are needing these products, and they don't understand already. It's hard enough. So yes, it was mind-blowing when I read the list of what was included.
A wedding gown is...
Oh, it even had garter belts listed on there.
No. Wow,
So,
that's an essential?
no.
Well, I guess they need people to get married. I don't know. Well,
So that was very interesting to me. I will also share this with you. So healthcare savings plans. So for those who have healthcare savings funds, and at the end of the year where it says, okay, you've got $100, you need to spend it or you're going to lose it by January 1. Well, a lot of people, if they don't have any more prescriptions that they need to use the funds for, you can go to, say, CVS or Walgreens and purchase with these funds chapstick, corn callus remover, Viagra, Rogaine, but you cannot purchase these products with your healthcare savings funds. And here in the United States, the FDA regulates these products as medical devices.
okay.
But yet your healthcare savings plan will not allow you to use those funds for these medical devices.
Well, you've told us a lot.
Yeah.
More specifically, I want to know, who do we need to speak to in North Carolina? Who do we need to be writing to say, okay, this is essential, and that should change.
Exactly.
Tax-free weekend, this is an essential, so that should change. PTAs, I know you want to raise money, and I know you want to do a carnival at your school, and you want to have a reading night. These are essential. I mean, you already have, because I said 3rd grade, because the opening when they can go to school now has changed. It used to be further in October, but I think it's like September, they have to be school age. So that's going to put some of your 3rd graders at the age where they're going to be
yes,
here.
Exactly.
So they're already struggling with learning, remembering to take a bath every day, and now they have this challenge. And if they're displaced, which 74,000 of our students are, and I told you all that in previous episodes, that's half of our public school system, 74,000 students. Not all of them are girls. However, they may be in households with girls, with mothers, with aunties that could use these products. So we don't want the boys to feel ashamed. Hey, mom, hey, auntie, I was able to get this for you at home. This is going to make me cry. I am pissed right now.
The backpack programs.
Yeah.
That's a good place to start, because even if a little backpack is going home with a little boy, then like you said, there's going to be a mom, more than likely, or someone in the house that's going to need these products. So that way, that's another thing we'd love to.
How much time do we have left? I am pissed because this doesn't make sense. And there's so many things that we don't know to know.
And once you know it, you can't unthink it.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
To me, it's a nonpartisan issue, but in the height of everything right now, it's just one more thing that it feels to strike against females. But get in touch with your legislators, your local legislators. That's the reason why it's important to vote and have representation at the table for who's making your decisions.
Yes.
And like I said, I don't care. This, to me, has nothing to do which party you're with. To me, this should be a nonpartisan issue.
Yeah.
That every person that menstruates should have access to these products.
All right. Sharron, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For being here. Okay, guys. I'm so sorry.
Now I about got up with
Thank you so much for joining us today on This Needs to Be Said. Until next time, have a super day. I mean it, even though these are tears. I'm pissed. We got to do something about this. Everything we do is political.
This needs to be said. All the while we're keeping it real, yes. There's so much to be said. Ooh, yeah, yeah. This needs to be said. All the while we're keeping it real, yes. There's so much to be